Metal Gear Solid is a true love it or hate it franchise, and I happen to be one of those who cannot get enough of it. It also happens that the package of Metal Gear Solid is worth checking out. This box has a very neat little quirk that ties into the game, and the manual has some absolutely stunning art. As simple as it may be, I love the cover art too. The font of the Metal Gear Solid logo is just so cool, and the shiny reflective red color really looks awesome. On the back we have our first surprise, but you wouldn't know it if you hadn't played the game or heard from someone who has. Many of you probably do know this, but for those who don't, there's a point in the game where Colonel Campbell tells you to check the back of the CD case for Meryl's radio frequency, Meryl being a character from the game, and you are literally meant to look at this screenshot on the back of the CD case to find her frequency and call her up to progress in the game. Otherwise, the back of the case accomplishes the usual stuff, giving you an idea of what gameplay looks like while telling you in a few words what you'll be doing, specifically getting the point across that this isn't a game where you just mindlessly kill everything in sight. On the inside, we have 2 discs and a manual. The 2 discs have behind them the faces of Solid Snake and Liquid Snake. In the front of the manual, we get a brief recap of Metal Gear 1 and 2, the precursors to Metal Gear Solid. It's cool that they put the cast of voice actors up front on page 5 here, highlighting the cinematic aspect of the game. On the next page, we really get into the backstory, and we get a taste of the art that we'll see more of in a second. Then there's 30-something pages of instructions for playing the game, sneaking around, using items, engaging in combat, and then we get to the character files, which I could spend all day looking at. Artist Yoji Shinkawa really made a name for himself in the Metal Gear Solid series, and it's easy to see why. These characters look astounding. There's something about the sketch-like quality of the images that really makes them intense, and the shading feels simultaneously effortless and incredibly detailed. It's also fun to look at these because these are some of the very first portrayals of characters who would go on to become legendary in the franchise, like Liquid Snake and Revolver Ocelot. Psycho Mantis made an incredible impression. Here's Cyborg Ninja, one of the coolest looking characters in any Metal Gear game, and of course Big Boss, who is not new to the franchise here. And then we have what you might call some support characters, the most noteworthy being Hal Emmerich, aka Otacon. And then we have nearly 4.5 pages of additional Metal Gear lore in the form of a glossary. This is actually helpful because the story is so confusing at times with so much military and political intrigue zigzagging across itself that it's hard to remember just what all these proper nouns are. And after that we conclude with a notes section, an ad for the official strategy guide, and on the back, an ad for Silent Hill. And that's it. Honestly, there's not a ton of stuff to see here. Yoji Shinkawa kind of carries this game box on his shoulders along with the quirk of the radio frequency on the back and some appreciated backstory, but regardless, these things are incredibly cool, and I think they deserve to be recognized. Metal Gear Solid is a unique and great series, and with this game coming out in an era where we no longer would reasonably expect things like posters to be packed in with the game, they nevertheless provided a complete in-box package that a game such as this deserves.